Alright, so I just want to make a quick demo on making a seamless pattern in Adobe Illustrator. Seamless pattern, there are a handful of different ways to do something like this, but the way I'm going to show, we're basically creating a swatch that uses that pattern. So our swatches are over here. Pattern swatches are kind of like these little preset ones, and you can do a variety of different things or different scaling with them, but really quickly, I want to show how to make our own. So I'm going to start by making a new 3" by 3" document. It can be any size, but 3" by 3" is just a simple square to work with. And then I'm going to grab these vectors that I got here. You can use any kind of imagery of your own or anything that you want. So I'm going to Command-C, I'm going to copy and paste them over, because these are what I'm going to be making that pattern out of. Now, I'd recommend going ahead and making a background. Pick your color scheme, pick your design style, your motif, your theme, you know, what have you. And then you're going to arrange your vectors or your shapes or your graphics on your square. Oh, I should probably send this to the back. You're going to arrange your shapes on your square in a way that they overlap the top, bottom, left, or right side, so that it would create, as I've said in the title, a seamless pattern. Meaning the parts that are going to be over here are going to wind up touching over here. So fill the composition in whatever way, whatever form you want, but I can imagine that since the top of this is going to be down here, I might want to move this one over here a little bit, maybe have this guy overlapping, move this guy a little bit, and fill my space with some clouds. Maybe even have a cloud overlapping, but just fill the composition. So now what we're going to do is we need to create copies of anything that's overlapping. So I'm going to create, using just like the selection tool, I'm going to select anything that overlaps one edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to Command-C, Command-F. That's copy, or Command-C, and then paste in front, which is Command-F. So now I've got copies of these two objects right there. And what I want to do is I want to move them exactly over to the right by 3 inches. So I can do that up here in the transform. I can change their Y. If I'm moving it to the right, I just need to add 3 inches onto here. So I can really just change this 2 to a 5. Now, I'm at the X. So I'm going to change the O to a 3 because I'm adding 3. And now I know that exactly where this leaves off, it's going to start over here. We might need to move around or adjust anything overlapping. So we're going to need to do a little bit of math on some of these. For instance, if I select my shapes over here, I need to move them down by 3 inches. So the Y is going to need to change. Let's see here. If I change it to 3, is that it? Whoop, I should probably copy, Command-C, Command-F, and then add 3 onto the Y. And now we're going to notice that we might need to move these up a little bit so that these shapes don't overlap. So I've got those. Now I need, looks like this guy. I'm going to Command-C, Command-F. And now I need to move this over by -3 because it needs to go to the left by 3. So this is where it gets a little bit dicey with the math. Let's see here. I'm pulling out a calculator up here. 2.817. 817 minus 3 is -0.183. So I'm going to change this to -0.183. And boom, I've got that overlapping. So now, if I made another rectangle at 3 inches by 3 inches, and I selected everything, I can make a clipping mask. And if all went according to plan, Object Clipping Mask Make, I think you can right-click on that now too. If all went according to plan, I should be able to duplicate this guy, and it should be relatively seamless. So now, if we just use our Pathfinder to just crop this all out, by clicking on this guy right here, that cuts out any of the excess, so it's no longer a clipping mask. And now all I gotta do is if I open up my swatches, I drag and drop this group into my swatches, and boom, I've got this guy in my swatches now. So if I make a new shape, if I make, like, let's say a circle, whoops, and apply the swatch to it, it's the exact same pattern. Now there's some things we can do with this, because if you see it's kind of stuck to that same size. If I scaled it up, or I have the scale turned on, sorry. If we right click under transform, you can change the scale settings by clicking on this, and you can check transform patterns or don't transform patterns. If it doesn't transform, it won't scale up when you create another shape. So I'm going to make another shape in that swatch, and then you'll notice that the pattern itself doesn't scale if I have that option unchecked. So that's really all for the tutorial. I recommend having a variety of different shapes or designs in your pattern. Try to keep a consistent theme or a consistent color scheme. And you've got your own seamless pattern swatch.